ಮಾಹೌಲ ಸೀದಾ ಗುಳುಂ ಹುರಿ ಬಲಿತ ಮಿಗುತುಂ ಕೇಂ ಬೊಯ್ಮುಗೆ ನುರಂಗಳು ಆದತಕ ಹೆಲಿ ಫೆಲಿವೆಗಳು ಮದೂಮಾ ದುಂಫತ್ ಕೆ ಇಸ್ತಿಮಾಲ್ ಕುರುಂ ಅದಿ ರಾಬುಯಿಂ ಫದ ಆದಕಾದತಂ ಹಿಮೆನೆ
Making headlines this hour, President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu calls on the public to uphold their duty to preserve and transmit the nation's heritage, including its religion, language, traditions, and historical legacy, as a trust to future generations. According to Chinese Ambassador Kong Xianhua, China has pledged broad financial and developmental assistance to the Maldives to help the country confront its economic challenges. The Supreme Court lauds a historic decision by President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu's administration to allocate a fixed percentage of state revenue to the judiciary as a block grant, a move hailed as a significant step toward ensuring its financial independence. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Minha Maroof. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu calls on the public to uphold their duty to preserve and transmit the nation's heritage, including its religion, language, traditions, and historical legacy, as a trust to future generations. His remarks, delivered in observance of National Heritage Day, affirm that safeguarding these foundations is essential to the survival of the Maldivian nation. National Heritage Day, commemorated annually on 12 September, marks the ratification of the Maldives' first heritage law in 2019. This year's occasion was marked by messages from both President Muizzu and First Lady Sajida Mohammed, each highlighting the role of cultural preservation in sustaining the country's identity. In his statement, the President described the safeguarding of heritage as a solemn obligation. He identified Islam, the Divehi language, traditional customs, indigenous craftsmanship, archaeological sites and artifacts, and the nation's historical narrative as the most treasured components of Maldivian heritage. These elements, he stated, must be passed on as a national trust. Since taking office, President Muizzu has placed heritage protection at the center of his administration's agenda. The government has developed strategic plans to honor and maintain cultural assets while also establishing funding mechanisms to support long-term preservation. Among the initiatives launched is a dedicated project in Ha Alif Atoll designed to protect heritage sites and generate income through their responsible use. The administration has also inaugurated a National Heritage College to advance research and education in the field. This effort is complemented by the establishment of a National Center for Heritage Studies tasked with investigating the origins and historical trajectory of the Maldivian people, compiling data, and cultivating expertise in heritage-related disciplines. Educational pathways in heritage studies have been expanded to support professional development. First Lady Sajida Mohammed echoed the President's message with a call to instill cultural values in the younger generation. She characterized Maldivians as people rooted in discipline, industriousness, and moral integrity, and highlighted the importance of transmitting these qualities to children. Her remarks described the national character as one defined by diligence, energy, and friendliness, attributes she deemed essential to the country's identity. She affirmed that national heritage sites, the Divehi language, and the cultural traditions inherited from Maldivian forebears represent a sacred trust. She noted heritage encompasses both tangible and intangible expressions of nationhood. Its careful transmission, she concluded, is vital to preserving the Maldives' unique identity for generations to come. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu, on behalf of the government and people of the Maldives, conveys a congratulatory message to Sébastien Lecornu on his appointment as the new Prime Minister of France. In his message, President Dr. Moïse expressed confidence in Prime Minister Lecornu's ability to fulfill the responsibilities entrusted to him, wishing him strength and success in advancing the objectives of his administration. The president further affirmed his belief that the long-standing friendship and cooperation between the Maldives and France would continue to thrive under Prime Minister Lecornu's leadership, serving the mutual interests of both nations and their peoples. Concluding his message, the president extended his personal best wishes for the Prime Minister's good health and well-being, and for the continued peace and prosperity of France. The Supreme Court lauds a historic decision by President Dr. Mohamed Moïse's administration to allocate a fixed percentage of state revenue to the judiciary as a block grant, a move hailed as a significant step toward ensuring its financial independence. The grant, set to be included in next year's state budget, is expected to resolve long-standing financial issues and accelerate the administration of justice. The decision made by the cabinet was welcomed in a statement from the Supreme Court, which said the initiative would help establish and strengthen an independent judiciary in the Maldives. President Dr. Moïse has initiated legal and systematic reforms to provide this decision with the necessary legal authority to become a sustainable measure. The Supreme Court statement expressed hope that the block grant would offer a long-term solution to the financial problems plaguing the judiciary. The court noted that a lack of financial autonomy has historically been a barrier to the judiciary's ability to operate without external influence. Under the new system, the judiciary will receive a block grant based on a specific percentage of state revenue, a departure from previous budget ceilings. The president has affirmed that the new allocation would be higher than the current budget ceiling for the judiciary, ensuring its complete financial independence. In addition to securing the judiciary's financial independence, the administration is focused on improving the overall justice system, which includes plans to construct a superior court complex in Hurumale to address the persistent shortage of court space. This and other systematic changes are part of a broader effort to ensure a more efficient and effective judicial system. The Supreme Court expressed its gratitude to President Dr. Moïse for his commitment to reinforcing the integrity and functionality of the judicial system. According to Chinese Ambassador Kong Qianhua, China has pledged broad financial and development assistance to the Maldives to help the country confront its economic challenges. The commitment was outlined during a press conference focused on bilateral relations and ongoing Chinese-funded projects. According to Ambassador Kong, China is working closely with the administration of President Dr. Mohamed Moïse to formulate specific plans for financial support. He elaborated the necessary documentation is expected to be completed by the end of September. A central feature of the proposed aid, he said, is its structure, designed to avoid placing any additional financial burden on the Maldivian government. He described efforts to arrange a flexible arrangement that would allow loans to be repaid over the long term. The ambassador also expressed confidence in the government's ability to manage the country's financial situation and urged the public to maintain trust in its leadership.
The arrangement is very concessional. I should say that the characteristic of this arrangement is that to provide debt relief without enhancing debt ratio, without extra cost.
In addition to financial assistance, Ambassador Kong detailed several development projects in the Maldives funded through Chinese grant aid. Among them is a hospital project in Vilimale, which has now entered the design bidding phase. Ambassador Kong also explained that preparations are also underway for a road modernization initiative in Vilimale and Male. The ambassador added another project, the construction of 50 council offices, has advanced following the completion of on-site feasibility studies. Ambassador Kong pointed to President Moïse's recent state visit to China as a pivotal moment in bilateral relations. He said the visit had strengthened ties between the two nations and was expected to yield substantial benefits for the Maldives. He noted that during the visit, 11 memoranda of understanding were signed across key sectors including agriculture, construction, fisheries, renewable energy, and education. The ambassador assured that China is positioned to play a central role in advancing development across these critical sectors. Attorney General Ahmad Usham asserts that the government's proposed amendments to the Media Regulation Bill will unequivocally address the concerns raised by journalists, aiming to establish a robust and independent media regulatory system. Speaking on PSM News' Rajami of the program, AG Usham detailed how the government's legal team identified 14 crucial amendments to the bill initially introduced by independent lawmaker Abdul Hannan Abu Bakr. A cornerstone of the government's proposed amendments, according to the AG, is the completion of removal of presidential influence in the appointment and dismissal of members to the Media Commission. While the original bill granted the president the power to appoint 3 members, the government now seeks to delete this section entirely. Instead, it proposes that commission members be appointed and dismissed through a secret ballot of the media, a move Usham described as the most significant change that directly addresses journalists' primary concern about executive interference. Beyond curbing presidential powers, the proposed amendments also include significant protections for journalists. The amendments have proposed to remove the section allowing sanctions against individual journalists, ensuring that accountability is directed appropriately. Other key changes include establishing qualification requirements for editors, ensuring the commission is funded from the government budget, clarifying procedures for case investigations, and prioritizing the cessation of anti-Islamic, immoral, and degrading practices within the media. AG Usham clarified that the government's intervention comes as it was already developing its own media bill, and these amendments align with its policy of merging the Media Council and Broadcasting Commission while developing a proper regulatory system. He emphasized that the government had no intention of influencing the media, but rather to facilitate journalism and information within the constitutional and legal framework. If passed with these amendments, the Attorney General believes the bill will resolve all journalists' grievances and establish a strong, independent system for media regulation. The European Central Bank (ECB) leaves interest rates unchanged as expected, but offered no clues about its next move, even as investors continue to bet that more support will be needed as inflation dips below target next year. The ECB halved its key rate in the year to June, but has been on hold at 2% since, arguing that the economy of the 20-country Eurozone is in a good place even if more easing cannot be ruled out. Recent data has confirmed this sanguine view, giving policymakers time to understand how US tariffs, higher German government spending, looming Federal Reserve rate cuts, and political turmoil in France might impact growth and inflation.
The Governing Council today decided to keep the 3 key ECB interest rates unchanged. Inflation is currently at around our 2% medium-term target, and our assessment of the inflation outlook is broadly unchanged.
Money markets priced in a 50% chance of one last cut by next spring, even as they expect the Fed to ease US borrowing costs 6 times by the end of 2026. Inflation is now seen at 1.9% in 2027, below the 2.0% projected in June, and core inflation is seen at 1.8% then, both below the ECB's 2% target, fresh projections showed. The United Nations Security Council condemns recent strikes on Qatar's capital, Doha, but did not mention Israel in the statement agreed to by all 15 members, including the United States. Israel attempted to kill the political leaders of Hamas with the attack, escalating its military action in what the United States described as a unilateral attack that does not advance U.S. and Israeli interests.
Unilateral bombing inside Qatar a sovereign nation working very hard and bravely, taking risks alongside the United States to broker peace, does not advance Israel's or America's goals. That said, it is inappropriate for any member to use this to question Israel's commitment to bringing their hostages home.
The United States traditionally shields its ally Israel at the United Nations. U.S. backing for the Security Council statement, which could only be approved by consensus, reflects President Donald Trump's unhappiness with the attack ordered by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The widely condemned Doha operation was especially sensitive because Qatar has been hosting and mediating negotiations aimed at securing a ceasefire in the Gaza war.
Violence brings violence. Impunity breeds war. Silence in the international community and of this very Security Council fuels chaos. And yet, this very council remains constrained, unable even to name the aggressor, to qualify aggression as a violation of international law.
Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani accused Israel of trying to derail efforts to end the war in Gaza by attacking Hamas leaders in Doha, but pledged to continue its mediation efforts. Pakistan also questioned whether the release of hostages held by Hamas was a priority for Israel. Algeria voiced its disappointment that the Security Council statement was not stronger. According to Gaza Health Ministry, more than 64,000 people, also mostly civilians, have since been killed during the war in Gaza. Apple shows off a new, slimmer iPhone Air model with a high-density battery and a brand-new processor, priced starting at $999. The iPhone Air model was the star of the annual product launch event, with CEO Tim Cook calling it a game changer. Apple said the model is its most durable iPhone yet. It will use the A19 Pro, a processor chip that it said it had tweaked for better energy efficiency and performance to match the device's thinner battery. Its price is slotted in between the company's other models, as analysts has predicted. The company also launched the iPhone 17 and iPhone 17 Pro, the latest upgrade to its flagship smartphone, as well as a new version of its AirPods Pro wireless headphones and a blood pressure monitor in its latest Apple Watch. The company effectively cut or held prices steady on these updated models. Apple said the base model iPhone 17 will have a brighter, more scratch-resistant screen. It will also have a better front-facing camera with a differently shaped sensor to make horizontal selfies look better.
Today, we have a huge day of announcements about AirPods and Apple Watch, and we're taking the biggest leap ever for iPhone. Let's start with AirPods. AirPods are the best and most popular headphones in the world. From an effortless setup, to their amazing sound quality, to working seamlessly across your Apple products. Today, we're building on these innovations and extending our leadership in world-class audio quality with the introduction of the next generation of AirPods Pro.
A 256GB version of the iPhone 17 base model starts at $799, the same as the previous iPhone 16 model with half the storage space. The iPhone 17 Pro starts at $199 for a 256GB model, the same as the previous year's model with the same storage size, but without the option of a smaller capacity phone at a lower $999 like the iPhone 16 Pro. The new AirPods Pro 3 will feature live translation of languages. Apple also said that if both people in a conversation are wearing the new AirPods Pro 3, the earbuds will translate conversations in near real time. Apple said the new AirPods will be priced at $249, the same as the previous generation, and become available on September 19th. The company's product launch event comes amid a global trade reordering sparked by US President Donald Trump, with Apple estimating that tariffs will cost it more than $1 billion in the current fiscal quarter. And that's all we have for now. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a pleasant day ahead.